coffee cup. Usually I have one that's about the size of my head. And I
Yes.
always joke, I tell people, yes, I can cut down to 1 cup of coffee per day, but I would need a 56-ounce cup.
Yeah, I wish I had one of those beer things that goes on the head that makes you.
Yeah, yeah, that it kinda has a little tube that yeah.
Huh, excuse me, I'm starting to get some
Excuse me.
strange little music in the background here.
Is there?
Hold on. Huh.
I don't
Okay,
hear it.
hold on. Oh, okay, it's coming through on my side, and it's like
Uh-oh.
this
Maybe
little,
it's
can you hear it?
no. Maybe it's
Okay,
spirits.
it
Maybe
might
it's an
be, but
EVP group coming over the waves, an EVP
it could
band.
be. Yeah.
Former
Today's
musicians who
show
have passed on.
today's show is all about, ghosts
Ghosts.
and hauntings and the kinds of
Yes.
hauntings from intelligent to, uh the concept of intelligent ghosts is quite intriguing to me.
Yeah, it means that it's an actual conscious, that spirit is actually there and conscious and aware and actually was a person who walked upon this earth at one time.
Right?
And then you have the ones that are, and it was one that you even mentioned once when you bought that new truck.
Residual energy.
Yeah, you saw like it's like watching a recording. It does, they
Yes.
do the same things. They're not really,
It's
and
like
I
a
think I
it's
think that's where it comes from. That's where people start to say, "Well, ghosts aren't real." They're not. They didn't say. They didn't really mean that. No, they don't exist. It's just that in their mind, they usually saw it as something that really wasn't a real person. It was just a recording like stamped on energy stamped upon our reality somehow and always replaying and even seen by others, sometimes supposedly photographed, because you figure even if it is not really there, it is there occupying space. And if you could see it, that means that light is reflecting off of it. Otherwise, you wouldn't see it,
yeah,
with your eyes.
and the story of my I had what I call a haunted vehicle. My husband and I got it from a car lot, and it was a Jeep Cherokee, and I was so proud of it. And I was also, we drove it home, and I resumed painting my house, and I turned around and I thought I had a new client. But then I realized that he was coming out of the Jeep and he had khaki pants on, quite well set, in his 50s, short business haircut, and then
Wow.
he was gone. And it was
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, I just saw something and I can't explain it. And that was, do you think there are certain times in our life when we're more sensitive to seeing those
Oh yeah,
things?
I think so. Just like with anything that you might be more sensitive. I mean, even with allergies, you have your time of the year, and I think I think the times of the year itself have something to do with it. Now, for instance, I noticed by reading one of the articles that you sent me, where they often sometimes like the holidays. They tend to be more active during the holiday season. And I know that in this house, we notice them, the haunting, the actual spirits, we notice them in this house, especially around Christmas, because
Yeah, you were
it's a
telling
long
me that.
celebration. And so as soon as the Christmas stuff comes out, they apparently love that atmosphere of the warmth and the decorations and the food and the things that go on, because it's also very social, and so they too become active, and it's something that we've noticed. And I would think it'd be more appropriate for Halloween, but actually around Halloween I've never noticed them in our house being active around that time. But Christmas, it seems to be a favorite of theirs, and not
Would you
so
say
much
that's
Thanksgiving.
residual? Would you say that's
I would
residual?
say this is not residual. I do think it's a combination of the two, because of the way they behave. Just like when I first came here, it seemed to me that they were very curious about me. And I was sleeping on a futon in the living room because I hadn't moved in yet. I was only visiting my friend. And it seemed to me, and I could feel as I'd be laying there with my eyes closed. I could just feel all this activity around me, bustling around this futon, just swimming around me, just looking like, wow, who is that? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that in my house? But they didn't do anything. They're just, and occasionally they flush the toilet, but,
Right.
things happen by
Bathroom
themselves.
ghost, huh?
Yes. But, we do also have the one that we hear, and we used to hear more often when we first got here, and that was before we got the dogs. And we would hear somebody talking, just talking like a monologue. And I thought it was the TV on upstairs. I thought, oh, you left the TV on. And I'd go up there and there's nothing, you know, silence. And every time I would try to get close to where I thought it was coming from, it would just disappear. It's like, wait a minute, where'd it go? But we would hear it all the time, and I was glad I wasn't the only one because I was thinking, "Uh-oh, am I hearing voices now at my age?" You know. But actually, it was like, no, I hear that too, and I don't know what it is. And sometimes that to me is not a that part of it is not conscious. I don't think if I said, "Excuse me, what did you say?" I don't think they would stop. They just keep going. It's just somebody apparently used to do a lot of reading aloud in this house because it almost sounds
Ah.
like somebody's reading, and it's a male voice.
Oh,
Yeah, and on
interesting.
occasion, I do hear things out of the blue that are very startling, and I wasn't the only one where I thought I heard a man yelling and screaming at somebody. Um,
Mm.
but I went outside. It sounded like it was right outside the window, but there's nobody there, and there's nobody around, and there's nobody in the house except us. And it seemed to just be coming from somewhere, but not anywhere in particular. Just sort of like over there in the air somewhere. Not really, and I don't know if it's hard to tell because the second time I heard it, I did hear what he actually said, and he just said, "The two of you are driving me crazy."
Oh, wow.
And that one made me
That
sit up
sounds
in
like
bed.
residual. That
Yeah,
sounds like
I
residual.
thought, well, that must have been a conversation he had with somebody at one time, and it's still there because it
Here's a
almost seemed to be hanging there like this.
this
It just was
afterthought.
odd, very
Yeah.
odd.
Well, most of the ghosts that people see are residual. And
Yeah,
it's just,
most of them are.
because they say that um every house is like a savings account of energy of
Hmm.
everybody that has ever lived there. Like that guy
Yeah.
saying, I think that's probably what they're going to hear me saying to my cats when I'm gone. Oh, you cats are driving me crazy. But the thing is, this is what it says. Um, the ghosts of residual haunting can be both seen or heard,
Yeah.
repeat the same activity. It is believed that most disembodied footsteps and many ghostly uh, noises are heard in a
Yeah.
haunted place might be residual in origin, and the residual sounds can be heard over and over by all kinds of different people. And
Hmm.
for example, it is said that the Queen Mary's second class pool room can still hear the splashing through the pool even when the room is empty. And I've heard of
Hmm.
ghostly Navy ships that were had gone through horrendous, devastating killings where they still say you can hear the people walking through the ship and things like that.
Yeah. Hmm.
um, it's interesting because I'm looking at um, the page that I'm looking at for anybody that wants to research this is called Angel Ghost.
Yeah, it
and
looks pretty
and it's
cool too.
angelsghost.com, and it's from all kinds of different mediums and people that have contributed articles. I thought something that was really interesting was the portal
Hmm.
ghost. You know, they're portal hauntings.
Yeah, the one that comes through the one that crosses over dimensions on purpose, or apparently, or has
Right.
that ability. Yeah.
Because it says it might it's like a portal for like a door for ghosts and spirits to cross over.
Hmm.
One the movie Poltergeist, wasn't that one of those?
Well, yeah, yeah,
That
and
was
that was
kind.
another poor. Actually, that was really, boy. I think the first version of that story I saw was on an old Twilight Zone episode back in this
Oh,
early or very early
really?
'60s. Yeah, it was. It actually, it's very much the same story. It's very easy to see where Spielberg got his idea from, because it involved a little girl that one night had gone into a portal in her bedroom and she vanished and they couldn't find her.
TV? Well, it was it a
Yeah.
TV?
It
The
was a
TV
TV, and
and it
her
would
father
static.
rescued her by having somebody hold his legs while he while he, reached for her inside this portal. And actually, they were getting very panicked because they had to pull him out right away because he could hear them. And they said, well, the reason why we were in such a hurry to get you out of there was because it was beginning to close up, which meant he would have been, and the gruesome part of this implies that, boy, if that had closed up, they were hanging on to his legs, and the other part of him was in the other world. That would have been
Oh,
really
that would have been
horrific.
bad.
Yeah, that would have
But
been really very horrific. But actually, that was for the tale. But I thought that was very interesting because I used to imagine. I guess I used to have a few dreams that there were actually portals in my family home when I was growing up, and
and
there
where
was
were they?
one. Well, there was one that was in the upstairs closet because we had a little door at the end of the closet, like a tiny door that led to the eaves of the house where the plumbing was. Look what's behind that door. So, and it was something that had influenced a few dreams I had. I had imagined that there was this whole huge room behind this door with shelves and shelves of old things, like old antiques and toys and dolls and all sorts of things. And it always seemed to be like there was something behind that door that was much larger than what was actually there. Like it would lead to yet another, whole other place. And I thought that was something that it could have been influenced by a lot of things I had seen at the time, but that was something that always stayed in my mind was, why is it even now, if I have a dream about some other dimension, a lot of times it does involve that particular closet in that house
Wow.
and that door. And that's why it was especially kind of upsetting to me when our house was eventually demolished
Uh,
recently. We haven't lived in it for a long time. My parents are gone now for almost 20 years. And the house was purchased by somebody else. But he abandoned it after 17 years. He just left it, and the bank took it, and then they demolished it and left an empty lot, and there's not anything there left at all. Not even a lawn, nothing. Sidewalks gone, basement gone, everything gone. Just an empty
like it
lot.
never existed.
And actually, I felt, well, God, you just took away the portal I had in my mind,
Well,
you know.
the
And where are my
portal.
parents going to haunt without this house? They took away all the residual haunting possibilities when they took away that property, and it just sort of felt a little sad to me, though it's just a shell of a thing. It's a house. It wasn't really that important, I suppose. It was important to us, but the residual haunting still happens around me, different places. And this house is something that it was noticed even before I got here. My friend who owns the place and bought it, he said that he always felt somebody climbing up on the bed when he was asleep. He would feel somebody sit down on the bed. And actually, I was surprised to hear that because I used to have that sensation in different places, in different apartments. And in this place, I could feel a dog sometimes climb up on the couch if I'm kind of dozing off. I think it's Bugsy, the dog, the real dog that lives here. And then I'll look and I'll see that nobody's there. So it's
How
kind of
about
weird.
haunted possessions?
I did hear of that, but I would say, if you have a possession that's haunted and it's causing disturbances, I would say get rid of it.
I have a
Yeah.
really fun story. Not fun, actually, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
But I found, um, or somebody gave me a picture that used to belong to a church,
Oh,
and it was of Jesus with all kinds of children at his feet. And underneath it said, "To the Lutheran Church from Agus something or other, I can't remember what." And I put it in the guest room. And my son and his wife came for Christmas, and they were sleeping in that room, having extracurricular activity on the bed next to the Jesus picture, when all of a sudden the walls started exploding, going boom, 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 boom,
oh
boom.
my
They
gosh.
both came running across the street, terrified. They said, "What on earth is with your house?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And they said, "Well, the studio better," they were explaining that. And I said, "Uh-oh, sounds like Agus was not very happy about what was going on in that room." So I have been very careful to keep that picture away from anything that has to do with
Well, that's
extracurricular activity.
interesting. Yeah. Well, maybe it's well the artist or the person that, that it came from was attached to it, perhaps,
It could
and
be, or
followed it.
I
You
I
know?
don't know, or maybe it was some Agassiz, and she had it for so long,
Yeah.
and it was her little portal.
Yeah.
But whatever the idea of the portal, I like this. It says the portal is believed to be an entryway from the spirit realm into our world, a door, and some ghost hunters believe that portals exist between the physical and spirit worlds, and it seemed to gain ground with the movie Poltergeist, and it's theorized that portals act as a door for the ghosts and spirits to cross over. And if portals exist, then it is speculated that haunting, paranormal activity would increase near these doorways into our universe. Here's another interesting thing. I had this really, she was quite famous in our area, and she said she was a psychic and she wanted to try me out. And she came, and she was resting on the couch, and she kept looking over her shoulder at that same room where my son and his wife had the activity.
Uh-huh.
And she said, "What's going on in that room?" And I said, "Well, that's strange that you would ask that. Why do you say that?" And she goes, "Can I see that room?" And I said, "Sure." And she said, "Well, this closet is a vortex. It's a portal." And it
Oh,
was so strange because my son, who is also very intuitive, kept thinking that that closet led to some weird place. It's just a closet,
yeah.
which I keep my Renaissance dresses. And by the way, all my Renaissance dresses disappeared before the Renaissance Festival, and
Ah.
it was like, where did they go? And
Uh-oh.
I had over $1,000 worth of Renaissance clothing, and they just vanished in that
Oh.
closet. So there's all kinds of weird things in that closet, and so yeah,
Well,
I
that's a
believe.
drag.
Yeah, well,
Because all those
evidently.
costumes and stuff, that adds up. That's all, yourself what you spend on those items, and they're all high quality things. Um, I haven't had anything. I've had things vanish and never to be seen again. Very similar, and
Mhm.
I can't explain it other than it must have fallen into a portal somehow. It just gone. And we have one spirit that I think is a child that likes to move things around. So
Mhm.
I have some toys set out, and I have a couple of dolls even just sitting here. It's like, well, if you want to play with something, there's things to play with. You don't have to hide my things. You could play with something if you want.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, well, I make it a point to have, just like there were certain things we found in the house that we decided to keep. There was a hand knitted trivet that somebody had left behind, one of those warm pads, for the table, so we kept it. And there was also a little plaque somebody had about Home Sweet Home or something, and we decided to keep that too. I just felt we should keep it and keep a few of these little. There's only a few things that were left behind here, small things that we decide to keep and to leave it. We just decided to leave it. We didn't have a problem with these things, and I saw no reason to throw them out. I thought, no, I don't. I almost felt bad about thinking about throwing them out. It's like, no, we can't throw this out. We need to keep this. So I think it helps. I think it really does.
It's interesting. It says 100+ years ago, especially in Europe, when someone bumped into a ghost or suffered a haunted house, it was culturally unacceptable to speak about it.
Yeah,
Such
even
ta-
today, most people don't want to hear about it.
no,
They don't.
yeah, such
Yeah.
tales. It says such tales of haunting were considered, you know, just bad. What are they?
Or something that could actually bring it more into
By talking
reality.
about it,
Yeah,
talking about it, you were actually confirming it, and
yeah.
I thought that that was kind of interesting. And they say the West, it says especially our neck of the woods
Hmm.
has been really slow in believing in spirits or residual energy or anything like that. And yet we can talk about folding space in half and traveling through a wormhole.
Well, I think
You
that's
know,
how, if we do have visitors from another world, like say actual aliens, I think that's probably how they've mastered space travel, is that they know how to use this
portals.
portal or phenomena of the space being folded over. They know, I would guess, if they're able to travel at all in space and visit us, then they probably are highly advanced, no doubt, and know how to use, um, you know, physics and they know how to use it. And they know how to ride this wave, rather than physically actually trying to travel it, how we're trying to do. We send something to Mars, but it is literally going directly, it's not, we're not using any portal for this. We don't
Mhm.
understand it. And plus, it's very hard, until I do believe that it is real, and I do believe that eventually science is going to figure it out.
What it
And
is, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
it's
but
going
then
to
that will
figure it
have.
out. But until then, it's going to seem very supernatural because we don't understand it. But like I always said, I don't really believe that there really is. I think all things can be explained, but it doesn't mean that it's any less spiritual. It's just that there's a lot of it that we don't understand. And that's why I said before, if you're seeing it, then if you're seeing it with your eyes, literally, then it is occupying space and light is reflecting off of it. And some people have photographed these things. The trouble is, there are so many fake photos out there, is that they all get lost in this because once you see so many fakes, and now we even have phone apps that can create the spirit effect, of what we think a spirit effect is. But actually,
Oh, well, a
but
lot
there's
of
so
the.
much fakeness, there's so much phoniness
Yeah,
to
there is a
sift
lot of
through.
phony. Yeah.
But there's a few very old photos that they still can't explain, and they really do look. They don't. You know, we haven't figured out how they would have been faked using these more primitive cameras. I mean, there are ways to create a ghost effect that can be
Mhm.
photographed, and it's a magic lantern sort of effect that's been in use in theater for a long time. It's that it's a projection on glass. Disney uses this all the time for hologram effects, and what you're seeing is not an actual hologram, but a projection on glass. And it could be done live on stage. The person's in another room and this is used, and the reflection technique has been used to fake some photographs. But I believe that in order to really understand it and to find the true phenomena, you have to debunk all the fake stuff before you get to it.
And
And
that's what I
that's what
like.
those two ghost people, Lorraine and that guy, all those two people that were always that they're focusing on a lot when they do the Annabelle movies or the Conjuring movies. It's about Ed and Lorraine. I can't think of their last names at this moment. It just slipped
There's
my mind. But they would debunk, but as they investigated, it's like they didn't want to ruin their own results.
right.
They really had to be sure that they went through all the possible explanations that we're aware of before they actually realized it was a haunting or decided upon, yeah, it's a haunting. It's not just
There
something that happens.
there are some very, very good um Ghostbuster shows on, but like you say, a lot of them, you can't tell what's real and what's not. But there is
Yeah.
a sister and brother one that I really like, and my God, they've got guts. They will stay in old abandoned buildings and sleep overnight, but they have all of the equipment to be able
Oh yeah.
to debunk and to everything.
Highly
Ho-
sensitive equipment, and you do
Yes.
need it. It's very difficult
How
to
about
prove.
haunted dolls?
Yeah. Um,
It says scour ghostly stories, pictures, and even film clips about dolls that are supposedly haunted or the cause of haunting. Here's again, uh, maybe residual energy from a child that died or that went through trauma. Can a
or
doll
somebody
really be
manipulating.
haunted? Yeah,
Yeah.
weigh spooky evidence and make up your own mind. You'll learn about different experiences people have had with ghost possessed effigies, such as voice recordings. We did that one show, and
Oh
ghost
yes.
pictures and video. I am going to be honest. I have had. I always encourage my clients to record their readings at my studio.
Hmm.
I've had a couple of things happen on these recordings, and I had to really what what one was
Hmm.
a woman that I was doing a recording with, and I said let's see if the recording is working okay, and we clicked on the button play, and it said tell her, and
Oh.
I went white, she went white, and we said whoa. What was that? That was, did one of us clear our throat or something?
Uh
We
huh.
kept playing it. We kept playing it. Tell her. Tell her. So all I could think of was that it was a good ghost. Most people walk in my studio and they feel nothing but good energy.
Uh
But
huh.
evidently, we had two readers in our studio. I say our, me, and whoever this energy is that's been speaking in my clients' recordings lately. And
Wow.
one said that she actually deleted her recording because she thought she heard a voice, and
Hmm.
she went through it 3 times, and she knew it wasn't ours, and she quickly
It freaked
deleted
her
it.
out. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
freaked her out, and I said
Yeah.
no.
I can't blame
I'm
her. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that any recording, anything in my studio is of really good energy,
Hmm.
but I understand,
Yeah.
so
Well, some people are afraid that maybe if they play an EVP in their home, that maybe
that
somehow they will draw this spirit to them, and I could understand that,
well,
and
Joseph,
I wouldn't want that.
how is that any different than every time we watch? And I've discussed this with you before. I have people that call me and say, "Oh my God, my place is haunted. The kids' beds are bouncing and there's weird noises going up, and I think, okay, the first thing I do is go, well, do you have any water pipes? Do you
Hmm.
have anything like that? Is how old is the home? And then I say, may I ask, what are you watching lately?
Yeah, what's on your TV?
And
Usually.
and in the same way that EVPs
Hmm.
could bring in residual energy or something, why couldn't one of these shows that you're watching, just because it's from a different time, once it's up here in your head, or
Well, it
once
has been recorded. It's on electromagnetic.
and
It's a digital file now, and
and
it's still there. Yeah.
so I have stopped watching these shows
Yeah, I
because
didn't watch them in the first place. I don't
I
have a
I
whole
I
lot of.
was fascinated with them, but then
Yeah.
I started realizing the minute I started watching them, I started having activity. So I stopped watching them
Yeah.
because it became clear to me that we are what we eat
Yeah.
and we bring in what we watch.
Right. Well,
And you have to be
and
careful.
if you're somebody prone to, like say you, you
Mhm.
know, um, you are prone to being approached by these things in the first place because you're open. You're open. It's and that's a window for them. Um, but but to call them deliberately on purpose is not something you want to do. It's not something that
No,
any of us try to do. And
or
I
Ouija
really don't
boards, like
recommend
Ouija
people use a
boards.
Ouija board. I really do not recommend people use those. You really shouldn't try to conjure the dead. You really shouldn't.
Well,
And
or maybe it isn't even
yeah,
dead. Maybe
yeah.
it's just extremely strong energy.
Hmm.
I'm very torn about that. I believe that it used to be a kids' game. I mean, I used to have them when I was a little kid. Did you?
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, no, actually, they weren't allowed in the house. I don't think my mother would have allowed it.
Oh,
But I do have one. I do have one, but it's packed away. And I did have it out for a while, and we did play with it as adults because they always say that it's best to use, it should be a man and a woman. That, you have to have the combination of the two energies. It works best that way with two people. And I guess what's supposed to happen is that the the what do you call that? The part that moves over the
oh, yeah.
okay, that is being guided by your hands, but it's all an unconscious thing. You are not consciously moving it. So there's a speculation that actually you are tapping into your own psychic energy, just like
Correct.
if I, like say, it's like reading cards. It's not the cards, it's the
No,
person who's interpreting the cards.
right.
So, because the cards are just cardboard, they don't do anything on their own, you know. But I think the Ouija board works the same way. But at the same time, when a person goes on this Ouija board and then says something, tries to address somebody, or call somebody, is there anybody here in this room, etc., etc., I think it's more like an invitation to trouble. I think
Well,
if you're actually
this
trying to do that, yeah.
listen to this. And a Ouija board can be an interesting experience. Some believe it is a doorway to another world and
Hmm.
warn against its use, but most people see it as a harmless diversion, especially
Hmm.
if it's not taken too seriously. Here's how to use a Ouija board correctly. It takes two to Ouija. Usually, one person is not able to work the Ouija. Get a
Hmm.
friend to use it with you. Having a male and female in the group, like you said, is usually recommended.
Hmm.
Timing. Most practitioners suggest using a board at night when they say less interference is in the atmosphere, but you can use it anytime.
Hmm.
Create some atmosphere. The Ouija is more fun if you darken the room and light some candles. But here's what I've also seen: don't let the board control the session. The medium should begin by announcing that the session will only be an experience that is positive or toward a higher good, and that negative energies are not welcome. And there are several protection. Uh, I'm not going. They're kind of like chants, but it's to the north, south, east, and west. To the north, we
Uh-huh.
are protected, and each one says it.
Right.
It says, "Don't ask stupid questions. Avoid questions such as, 'When am I going to die?' Don't ask
Yeah.
that. If the board
Never
answers
ask that. Yeah.
6 months, you've planted a seed in your head, right?"
Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah.
And don't ask
Yeah.
for physical signs. Many experienced users warn against asking for physical signs that the spirit is real. And
Hmm.
don't believe everything the board tells you. Just as with
Right.
any other source of information, don't accept whatever the board says to be true. Close
Hmm.
the board. This is an important step. When you're done with your session, intentionally slide, they call it the planchette, to goodbye and
Oh, the planchette. Yeah. Yeah.
remove your hands. If And so there are many ways. Please do, if you're going to use a Ouija board for Halloween, please do go and look at safe tips for using a Ouija
Yeah.
board.
And keep it light. Yeah.
Keep it
Don't
light,
get.
and be sure to say only positive will be
Mhm.
allowed in our session. Negative is not. There are things that you can say. I've seen them on YouTube where people have specific things that they say to the spirits, north, south, east,
Mhm.
and west. I don't use them anymore. But I will say I was at a party. The mother of a deceased mother was talking to her daughters, and she wanted nothing to do with anybody except the daughters, and it was the
Mm.
most gentle and beautiful communication, and it was just as if she was sitting at a table having coffee with them. But boy,
Wow.
she did not want anybody else on that board but her, but
Mm.
her daughters. And it's can be quite um and was it the board or was it them? You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
that's the thing. I would say it is more or less the person. I would say it is not the objects. Objects are just objects. The boards nowadays, it's cardboard, plastic.
Mhm.
Before it used to be more. But the thing is that it's still an object, and just like our tarot cards, the crystal balls, anything at all those things, they're not. They're just objects, and actually we use them as tools to help us to um, project onto this, as we're doing our readings, or communicating. I do think that the board helped them to focus
Mhm.
and help them to narrow things down, really, really good. Oh, we have a
Oh, we have Annette
guest.
from Boston. She would
Oh,
like to have a
Annette.
phone reading. So we're going
Okay.
to talk to Annette. Hello, Annette. How are you?
Hello.
Hi,
Hi,
Annette.
Annette.
Yes. Hi.
Hi. How are you? And what
How
can
are
we
you?
help with
I'm
today?
well. Well, I just want to know if you can pick up what is the energy around myself and Alan.
Okay.
All right. Joseph, you want to go first?
Hi, Joseph.
Hi, Annette. Annette and Alan. What
The
is
big
that?
A's. A.
Yeah, yeah, I would say definitely. Okay. Okay,
Oh,
well,
she's
I do
laughing.
see at the
He's laughing, Annette. I don't know what that
no,
I
means.
it's just
know.
that,
I
my
know.
screen just does some really funny, odd things sometimes. And I happened to look up and I saw it went to a screensaver, and I won't get into it. Well, actually, what I
Uh-oh.
what I drew for the present
Uh-oh.
time is the Five of Swords, and it's upside down. And I
Mhm.
do see that it seems like there appears to be a loss of confidence and a loss of
Oh,
nerve.
thank you. I got the same
Um,
thing.
yeah, apparently there's some indecision or some
Mhm.
sort of inability to decide,
Wow.
or trouble adapting to a new change in life. Like you might have, I don't
Mm.
know if you've moved or there's been a change in the dynamics of things involving
Mm.
the two of you, but one of you is having a hard time, or both of you is having a hard time adapting to this change, and
Mm.
and you're being warned, like don't revert into like
Mhm.
stereotypical thinking. You know, to try not
Right.
to think in counterproductive ways, or maybe
Yes.
perhaps don't start reliving previous negative thoughts that you thought you
Right.
gotten away from. And it
Yes.
almost seems like um, um, you need to focus more on yourselves rather than
Yes.
work. I do see work taking precedence, and you're being warned about that. It's like, it's too much involved with work. You need to spend a bit more time, yeah, without working. You need to relax. And
Yes.
you and Alan, was it
Yes, but
Alan?
we're
Yeah.
actually not together. We're not
No,
a couple.
but you both appear to be too involved with work, and you
Yes.
need to not do that. You need to stop doing that. You need to relax, and both of you need to do that. You need to relax. I do see that there is success coming soon, though, to you. And I do see
Wow.
that confidence and determination being restored eventually. I do see that happening over the
Wow.
next 7 months or so. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'd say 7 weeks to 7 months, because the chariot is the seven, and that indicates forward motion. And that means,
Wow.
yes, you're going to be traveling in the direction that you're supposed to be. Always always be traveling in the direction that you are facing. Okay. that's a,
Mhm.
yeah, so that's very
Mm.
helpful, and that's what you will. I do see that you're going to have victory over whatever ails you. You know, you like say, for instance, if
Yes.
you haven't, if your health hasn't been great, or if you've been having financial problems. And when I talk
Mhm.
about health and disease, I'm thinking of, like not just the body, but I mean just things in general.
Mhm.
Like, like say you're not in a good
Yes.
space, or the work sucks, and everybody
Beautiful.
around you is a jerk. All of
Yes,
this,
and that is
I do
true.
see that you're going to. Yeah, if you focus on your battles at hand, if you work on things
Mm.
immediately,
Mhm.
you will eventually be able to take great satisfaction at what you've accomplished. And I
Yes.
do see things
This is
working
beautiful.
out.
I'm going
This is
to
Yeah.
add,
beautiful. But Anne
Annette.
Marie, I'm sorry, Anne Marie. Wait, I just want to confirm something with Joseph.
Sure.
Yes.
Um, what you were speaking about, Joseph, is on point. Um, and it's interesting. I'm not surprised that the Five of Swords came out reversed, because
Yeah.
we were at we were in a battle.
Yeah.
I won't say a battle, but we had a disagreement,
Yeah.
and I decided that it's best that I step away
Hmm.
and decide on whether or not we just needed a break. I thought that I just needed a break,
Yeah.
and I
I
told
Okay,
do see it
don't
working
that.
don't
out.
say don't
Okay, I
say
won't say
any
anything.
more
I won't say anything
before,
else.
okay?
Okay,
Because I
Yeah.
want to
okay,
add what I have
Yeah. We don't want
okay,
to influence her
or whatever.
subconscious.
okay.
Yeah.
First of all, it says this has been a huge lesson for you, especially on emotional breastfeeding. Your
Mhm.
reading says that in the past, there was a sense that you often found yourself as the fixer or the rescuer,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that this relationship was with a wounded or broken winged bird. And
Mhm.
your reading says that this has taught you valuable lessons in
Mhm.
how to have a new beginning, in
Mhm.
only allowing people into your life that give back their
Mhm.
50%.
Mhm.
Because your reading says that oftentimes you are the kind of compassionate person that will fix and carry another's pain for them. So your reading says, watch out when you start to feel drained or you start to feel as if you are in a situation where you are not necessarily feeling like you're getting anything out of it, because that is an indication that that a red flag is waving, and it's an indication that you are specifically being requested by the universe and your angels to move on, have a new beginning, concentrate on anything that makes you feel whole and accomplished. If that includes work, then work your brains out. If it includes accomplishments, then be a winner. But don't then reverse and take on broken wing birds that may unintentionally kind of undermine your journey. So that's what comes through.
Yeah, I'm seeing a
Wow.
lot of
You
in your
guys are,
past. In your past, you had some disappointments. I see that.
yes,
It goes
yes.
well with what she said. Is that really
Oh my God.
you needed to be more open in the past to
Yes,
unconventional ideas, and in order for things
yes.
to work. But the thing is that I do see like there was like possibly even divorce or something like that in
Yep.
your past.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was. Yeah, yeah. I was divorced. I was married for 17 years. I was divorced. You're correct. Both of you
Yeah.
are correct on everything, and I've learned
Wow.
that it's like oh my gosh, spot on. I've learned. I backed off. I backed off and just and pulled my energy in. It was
It
now
seems
time for
like
me
you've
to
done
take
the
care of
right
my energy.
thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for the energy that I bring in. I'm responsible for the energy that I give out and the people around me. And what I do is that when I pull in, because I realize that my energy is so strong
Yeah.
and it's powerful, and people like to eat it up.
Yeah.
And you correct, when I become drained, I've learned to pull it in, and it affects my environment.
Gotta watch out for those
People,
energy vampires.
yes,
Yes.
They don't do it on
yes,
purpose, it's just how they are.
no, yes.
A
And
lot of
people,
times.
it changes. It really changes the
Oh, we
energy.
have another reading. I'm so sorry.
Oh dear.
Oh, is that what that is?
People come
Yes,
knocking.
that's from
It's
I
always
love
Sarah.
it. I love it. It scared the hell
somebody's
out of me.
knocking at the
Okay.
door.
Hello, Sarah. How are you?
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, I'm good.
What can we do for you?
Yes, I was stuck in creating my business and with some of the copywriting, and I wanted to see what you saw with hiring Mary to help me with some of the business and writing.
So basically, what is the essence of Mary and being able to help you? What qualities can she offer that would make your journey better?
Definitely, that's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. How would this work for you?
You want me to go first, Joe?
Yeah, why don't you go on first?
So I'm just going to look at Mary and what comes up as what gifts she can offer you that would make your journey more fulfilled in this. And it says, and I will be honest about what I see, okay? Um, First of all, I want to ask you, how well do you work with people? Because I'm showing tension. I'm showing a feeling that you need to be sure that Mary understands intuitively where you're coming from and what you expect of her. Because there's a sense that she would not feel grateful for you and you would not feel grateful for her if you weren't dead on honest with her right from the start in writing about where you are coming from and what you expect from her, because it says that without those black and white terms, she is not one to specifically know or be able to feel you out, and it would probably become very mixed up and confused. So, A, write it down in no uncertain terms in black and white what you expect from Mary, and B, what is the gist of your project to you, and what is it that you would like from her? That will help your journey. Joseph, go.
Well, I do see that there was a lot of failure in the past with money, and I do see that like that some high risk projects didn't work out well. And probably with either Mary or yourself, you might say, gee, I don't know, Mary's had some fails in the past, and so have I don't know. But what I am seeing is that the merger appears that you have both changed from the past, and you can actually make this work in the present time. I do see that
Mhm.
she does have things to offer, and I do see that there will be better control over things. I do see success, like say in business or sales. Um, this is present day and also like near future. And I do see your own personal powers increasing, and to develop an understanding of each other, and as business partners, and how this would work. But I
Yes.
do see that this will work
Joseph froze there.
only if
Um,
you
are you still
am I
there?
s- I'm
Sarah?
still here. I can hear you.
I'm here.
I can hear
Sarah?
I'm
everybody.
here.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear
Sarah,
me?
I
I
can
am
hear
not
you.
hearing you, and I don't know if it's me or if it's
Okay, Sarah,
Joseph.
if you can hear me, I'm going to keep
But
talking. Okay.
I would say listen to Joseph.
I do see that as long as you are giving in to others, as long as you have a give and take between you and you communicate well, it's very important and it will work. But you must be open, and you have to kind of give of yourself here personally to make it work. But I do see that working with the Six of Pentacles, which is a very good thing. However, in the future, um, even though things might seem successful on the money front, you really do have to work on this relationship. You really have to stay open with each other, because if one of you gets all dark and secretive, it's not going to work. All right. So
Mm.
so you
Okay.
have to keep the lines open and communicate well with each other. I do see it working out if you do that. I do see it. I do see success more so at this time, but you're being cautioned about later. It's like you really have to keep it up. Don't just park your car and walk away. All right. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm done, but maybe Anne Marie has something to say, but I don't know if she can hear me or not. Did we lose Anne Marie? I think we did. Okay. I would say that, avoid and recognize when somebody might seem mean or cruel. Is when people go
Mhm.
through things, if Mary has a problem, she might tend to get kind of dark, and maybe you too.
Right.
And
Yes.
you need to keep this light, and you need to communicate. You really have to. I see it working out. I really do. If you do
Okay.
that, yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
So as long as we just keep the communication open.
Keep the communications open. Keep everything above board. Don't have secrets from each other regarding things that you're doing,
Mhm.
with this company. I mean, you really can't have that if you're going to be working together on something. You really have
Yeah,
to
I would say most of all, make sure
100%.
make
Yeah,
sure in no uncertain terms that she knows what you expect from her, and you should do great. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And she
That's
has to know the
wonderful.
same.
Thank you for your
Yeah.
help.
Thank you. All right. Well, it's about time to wrap up, Joseph. And do you
That
want to
went
say
by
your
really
little
quick.
close? Huh?
Yes, I will. And it is fall, and I know that people are very upset about things that they're hearing on the news. It seems like we're dog meat. It seems like this time. I mean, we got weather attacking us, and we have fires, and we've got political
Politics.
situations.
Uh,
So let's just, for our sake, we will draw in the good energy for ourselves so that we can deal with things better. So I bring the cosmic forces into my being, asking for strength, protection, and guidance. I bring the cosmic forces into my being, asking for strength, protection, and guidance. I bring the cosmic forces into my being, asking for strength, protection, and guidance. Help me to do well. Help me to make the right decisions. Help me to use my skills and abilities to the best of my ability.
bye,
Thank you.
Joseph. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Odell at Achieve Radio's Tarot Joy. Come on upstairs. Grab yourself a tapestried pillow and get a down-home, honest reading with 30 years Master Tarot channeling experience. In addition, I will have a weekly spiritual guest from around the world. That's 2 readings per call for you. After the show, I invite you to come on over to thecallingoflight.com. I offer PayPal readings at 15-minute or 30-minute sections of time. All yours. To thecallingoflight.com.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio.